Yo, what's good, everybody? Today is August the 4th, 2026. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for allowing us to see yet another day. We ask you, God, that you will bless this broadcast as well as the viewers and their families and loved ones as well. We ask all these things in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Yo, what's good, everybody? Y'all come on in. Um, I'm going to say happy born through our born day. Go ahead and get our born day shout outs as out the way. Happy born day to Tyron Scott. It's Keisha Williams, the incomparable Melissa Wade, Mackenzie McBride, my man Boston, Mr. Junior Gray himself, um, my man Craig Anderson, Westside Football Forever, Nasira, my man James Edwards, my guy, my cousin Josh Williams. Happy born day, kid. I appreciate you. Um, and Mr. Christopher Williams. Happy born day to all you guys. I appreciate you all. Uh, Tonight we're gonna be doing the first of the month freestyle show for August 2026. So tonight we just gonna be talking about uh, all-time favorite TV shows, characters, uh, some of the ones that's more popular, maybe that you don't necessarily care for, and why is it that is your favorite show? What makes it? Is it the acting? Is it the writing? We'll get into all and whatever else you guys want to talk about. Feel free to leave it in the comments. Any questions or comments you guys want to tune in, be a part of the show. I gladly appreciate it. Everybody that's on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe for me. If you haven't done so already, I gladly appreciate it. But like I said, you guys, the comments make the show. I will have a special guest co-host and coming in a minute. But like I said, I wanted to get into some of you guys. Keep it light tonight. There's a lot of stuff going on. Crazy weather everywhere. I hope everybody's staying safe as possible as well. I know it was crazy storms here in North Carolina today. So everybody stay safe. But figure we keep it light tonight. After we had a great episode last week, Pastor Larry Haran, he shared his story on forgiveness and the power of forgiveness. So I figured we keep it light with this first of the month freestyle show. Talk about some great TV series all time. What's your favorite TV show of all time? Like I said, some of your favorite characters. Um, I seen that The Shy finally came to an end last week. Um, what was you guys' take on that? We got Raising Canaan, which will be ending this week. This Friday. Um, so what's your guys' take on that there? Um, I guess I'll start. I don't see any comments yet. But for me personally, it's gonna always be The Wire. I think The Wire was top notch. I think it stands alone. Um, when we're talking about TV series, rather, you know what I mean. I think the greatest TV show ever created was by far, well, for me anyway, personally, was The Cosby Show. I absolutely love The Cosby Show. Um, from his inception, from the very first episode throughout the series, got kind of, me and my brother were having a conversation or a debate over the weekend about things like that. There, it's like me personally. I think that a lot of TV shows or TV series, they should pretty much call it quits after 3 years, 5 at the max. I think after a while it's just like overkill, and we're reaching for stories, and it seems to get a little outdated, so to speak. Longer that they stretch a particular story. When we was growing up, you had TV. One, TV seasons was different. You might have 30, 40 episodes in one season back then. But you had shows like Cheers that ran for like 11 years, the Jeffersons 11, 12 years. I'm not sure. I think Good Time was only on for like 6 years. Um, then, MASH. MASH is one of those popular shows that It seemed like it was out forever, and I can't really talk about Match. I have never, believe it or not, I have never seen an episode of Match in my life, but I know it's one of those longest running shows ever. Um, my bad, that was the guest texting me. Um, yeah. So, what's some of you guys' favorites? On YouTube was out there that's watching us live. What's some of you guys' favorite TV shows of all time and why? Um, but like I said, for me, it was The Wire, simply because um, the story resonated with me. It was believable to me. A lot of people like, come on, man, you got to realize it's just TV. I know it's TV, but if I'm gonna watch something, I'd rather it be kind of believable. I know that is not true. It's not a biography, um, but at least make it believable. I think that The Wire was done well. Um, excellent writers and excellent. Ooh, excuse me. Excellent casting. Because many people don't even realize. I remember me personally. I remember the first time I seen Idris Elba on late night TV. Hey, what's good, man? What's good, bro? I remember the first time I seen Idris Elba on late night TV being interviewed, and I said, 24. Yeah, that was another one that lasted quite a while. 24. That was a show. I watched 24, maybe like the first 3 or 4 seasons. Then kind of got away from it. But yeah, 24 was real good. Shout out to Keith, was it Keith Sutherland? Yeah, Keith Sutherland. Yeah, 24 was good. But I was saying, I remember the first time I seen and what was it that you liked about the 24? Was it the concept or the theory of the show? Man. But I remember the first time I seen Idris Elba on late night TV doing an interview. I'm like, why is Stringer Bell talking with this fake accent? I didn't even realize he was really from overseas. I didn't realize he was across from the pond, and I was like, okay, that solidified the why even more for me because it was like I thought he was really Stringer Bell. I thought he was from the hood. I didn't realize Idris was over there. But so many of those actors on so many our favorite TV shows, they from overseas these days or even back then. But from Idris Elba to Michael K. Williams, rest in peace, to Wood Harris, to Snoop, Marlowe, Mr. Jamie Hector, who played Marlowe on The Wire, um, Bodie, Poop, Slim Charles. Like I think it was a great ensemble of characters and great ensemble of stories. And another thing reason that I liked The Wire so much was, well, we'll get back into that because my guest we always was going back and forth on The Wire. So I'm gonna say some of that for when he gets on here. Um, another one that I think gets lost in the sauce because it's kind of outdated now is the Shield. The Shield that used to come on FX. That was another pretty good one. I remember the Shield being like everybody was trying to figure out where's this FX channel at. Um, but that was a pretty good show. The Shield was a good one. Trying to think of some other ones. The Shield. You got Game of Thrones for those that was in the Game of Thrones. I don't know if you was in the Game of Thrones or not, but I was actually into Game of Thrones. I was in a couple of discussion groups with Game of Thrones, watch parties, and everything else. Game of Thrones was pretty good to me. I didn't necessarily care for the last season of it, but or the ending. But Game of Thrones was a good one. On the pre-show announcement, I put it up there too. How you guys feel about Snowfall and the Shy. Sopranos. Sopranos is on my all-time list too. It has nothing to do with being from Jersey, but Sopranos was like, yeah, Sopranos was uh, up there for me. Um, then another person for me was Dexter. I don't know how many of you guys actually watched Dexter, but I was I was hooked from Dexter before it even came on. I remember them playing the commercial saying that there was this new show coming out, and they played the little trailer, and it was this he's this blood splatter expert, a forensic expert, and he's also serial. And I'm like, yo, how can you be working with the police every single day so closely and you're actual serial killer? It was like, and I said, so let me check out this first episode, see what they really talking about, because it was like hard to grasp the concept. And then when I seen the very first episode, I was hooked. I was hooked on Dexter. Dexter was another one that was pretty good to me. Trying to think what else was out there. Uh, what's some other ones? Snowfall. How you guys feel about Snowfall? Um, my next favorite might be House, then Dexter. Um, yeah, House. Um, I never really got into House, but I heard it was a pretty good show. I know that it was on for a little while, and that's the one with the doctor, right? Yeah. Oh, so you used to watch Dexter too? All right, that's what's up. Yeah. House, I heard good things about House. I just never watched it personally myself. I never was really into it. Um, I never really gave it a try. I never, that wasn't my cup of tea, so to speak. One thing about me is I don't like to watch a lot of television on network television. I prefer like the premium channels, and I like to deal with commercials and all of that there. But having said that, though, one of the ones that did catch my eye and my attention on network television was This Is Us. Any This Is Us fans out there? I thought that was a pretty good show. I like the theme of the show, and how it all came together. How it played out. I thought that was a well written show as well. Then for those that are out there looking for some stuff to watch now, I see a lot of people post different suggestions, looking for suggestions for things to binge watch and whatever. I thoroughly enjoyed the new show, Nemesis. Nemesis on Netflix. That was a pretty good show to me. But it was, and that was one of a worker from Courtney Kemp as well, who did Power, the original Power. Um, so it showed to me like she's a pretty good writer. She was a pretty good writer. I thought Nemesis was pretty good. I like the acting in it. The actors did an exceptional job as well. Um, um, I'm trying to remember. You said 24, man. I was trying to think of how 24 actually ended. I'm trying to remember if I actually seen the ending of 24. Breaking Bad. That was another popular one that was big. I actually enjoyed Breaking Bad as well too. I said I would never go back and watch it again. Oh, excuse me, all the way through. Back to stuff being actually believable. Breaking Bad was definitely not believable to me. I understand, he got diagnosed with cancer, and now all of a sudden you just kingpin and a murderer, and you have no care in the world. I just thought it was super uh, exaggerated in my opinion. But for the time in which it was, Breaking Bad was pretty good. American Horror Stories, that was another popular one. One of my cousins that got me into it. It was different because every season seemed to have a different theme and whatnot. But yeah, that was a good one. And then I know, man, you in there, you out there. I know you was in the Spartacus. I don't know too many other people other than you and me that was in the Spartacus, but I actually loved me some Spartacus. What about House of Asher? Have you checked that one out? I can't I couldn't get into it. I got through like maybe the first 3 episodes, but I just couldn't. I couldn't really get deal. I couldn't really rock with Asher. Any Spartacus fans out there that watched the House of Asher? Yeah, House of Asher. That was like, I get it, but Asher was a better better part of an ensemble cast to me, as opposed to being a standalone dude. Um, and that's one of those things too that you got to decide too when you have this hit show or you have a good show, like knowing when to end or like we was talking about Dexter. They have so many variations of Dexter now, and it's been off the air for what 10, 15 years. But now you got Dexter Resurrection. You had Dexter New Blood. All these spinoffs from Dexter. Um, that you know they still trying to find a way. They actually filming season 2, I believe, of Dexter's Resurrection now as we speak. And with Harrison being older and becoming a cop, following in the family business, so to speak. Uh, so I said I might give it a try in the second season. I watched the first season. I thought it was pretty good. I like the way they fast forwarded and Dexter moved. He's out of Miami. He's up in New York now, trying to help his son, and his son is just in him. He don't even understand why, um, or why he is the way he is. But yeah, Dexter was definitely a well written show as well. Good characters. Um, I like the way they even when you follow it up all these years later. Uh, he said, "Heck no, no one watching Asher. He was the weak character of Spartacus." Yeah, that's what I was saying. He was a better character because he had to be that nemesis. You got to always have that nemesis, that bad guy. Um, which is why I think he did a pretty good job to me. Um, it's like to me one of the testaments of how good of a character is how much can you hate them. Like that, I think that tells a lot about the actual actor that portrays particular characters. But when we get to actually can't stand that particular character, I think they did a good job. Like that's how I am when you talk about the Power Universe with Michael Rainey, because I absolutely can't stand Tariq. I can't stand that kid. I think he's a superficial, entitled brat that became. I just don't get it. I never liked the Tariq character. Uh, but that aspect of it is somewhat true too. We were having that discussion as well. It's like it's amazing how when you grow up in the hood, you always got people trying to move out the hood, but you don't never see nobody trying to make it out of like Beverly Hills or uh, some of these plusher upper echelon areas like that. I want to move to the hood. I want to if you from Lake Norman, and those that know, if you know, you know, in North Carolina. But if you live from Lake Norman, you don't see nobody saying they want to go to the east side of Charlotte. Leave Lake Norman to go to east side Charlotte and become the biggest drug dealer ever. It's like, what are we even talking about here? And that's what Tariq was. And it was like, it made me think too, like, as parents, your number one thing is to make it a better life for your kid. But we're not even talking about TV shows now. Just a general question. It was like, where do you draw that line at um, from trying to give them everything that you didn't have? Where do you find that balance as parents between giving them everything that you didn't have necessarily, but at the same time not making them feel entitled or that they owed something, and you know what I mean, and still helping them understand that they have to make a living and make a life for themselves as because they hopefully and prayerfully one day they'll become adult themselves and have their own family. Hey, what's good, Jew? Um, this is the first month, Jew freestyle show. We ain't talking about nothing really in particular. just talking about different TV shows, and I was just asking like, where do we draw that line? That you can relate to this too as well, Drew. Like you try to give your kids everything that you didn't have growing up. Like where do you draw that line at from so that they don't become entitled or spoiled? Not necessarily. There's nothing wrong with spoiling kids here and there. I believe that's up to each and every one individually. But like how do you balance that out with them? Um, Pretty much just uh, still being a go getters, understanding the work ethic, and they gotta create a life for themselves outside of just being your child. Like one day, hopefully you'll become successful adult on yourself and raise your own family. So, where do you find that balance at from giving them everything without giving them enough without giving them everything? You know what I mean? And teaching them about what's the word I'm looking for? Prioritizing just what matters in life and things of that nature. There, I don't know where this kid at, man. He must have just said school. That's what's up with these young people these days. I'm trying to think of some of the older ones too. Uh, as far as TV shows, but Snowfall again. Yeah, did any of you guys watch Snowfall? What's your take on Snowfall? Is Snowfall up there for you guys? Snowfall and Power were kind of overlapping one another. Um, as far as times that they would be actually being aired or the times being out. I don't think they was on the same exact night or anything of that nature, but they were out at the same time. I thought Snowfall was pretty good in the beginning. And then they started just it's kind of was like not all over the place like the Shy. So those that's out there that Shy fans, and now that the series is over, what did you guys think about that? About the way the way the Shy ended the show overall. Because I was a fan of the Shy like the first two or three seasons. I had to bow out gracefully though. I just felt like the writing was like literally all over the place. I stopped watching maybe after season 3 or 4. Um, it's like I just didn't like the direction of the way that the show was going. I thought the writing was just too all over. And then it's like I'm glad I did because a lot of the comments and a lot of the discussion groups they were talking about the series finale and how a lot of people were disappointed. That's why I was asking you, if any of you guys actually watched the shot, what did you think about the series finale and the way that it ended? I can't really speak on it because I didn't watch this last season. Like I said, I stopped watching it seasons ago, so I will have to go back and I don't think that is worth it for that. Because just like I was talking about Tariq, I could not stand the Bakari character. I never liked him. He did get so-called revenge for Coogie's death, and that was kind of a highlight in the show to be. Ooh, excuse me. I think Ronnie had got to the point where Ronnie had actually redeemed himself after he had found Keisha. Um, I thought that was say maybe you can turn a new leaf, but your sins always catch up with you, so to speak, as they say. So I thought that was kind of the timing of Ronnie's being taken out. I thought that was kind of crazy, but you know it is what it is. Um, That was another character that I couldn't stand. I could not stand Keisha on the shot. Like she was always just nerve wracking to me. Um, yeah, it is, Drew. It will be. Um, cause it's still coming down outside here. It's still storming and stuff out there. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe my man was having trouble. He's supposed to be on with me, but um, yeah, Drew, it's definitely gonna be an early one. As soon as I hit pause, I'll probably be sleeping about 20 minutes later once I wrap this up. What was some of the shows that you was into, Drew? And that's it's I guess that's a new, relatively new thing in the last 20 years as far as like TV series. You know, we had TV shows um growing up, but it wasn't like how it is now with the Power Universe and the Shot. Well, I guess you could consider shows like Law and Order and whatever. Again, I don't watch stuff that come on regular television. Other than This Is Us, I thought that was pretty good. Paradise was another good one for those that be looking for something to watch. I really liked Paradise, um, but it was a good concept. I won't give it away for those that haven't watched it yet. But Paradise was that was good television to me. I like the theory of it. I like the way they came about that. Um, but believe it or not, as long as it's been on, I forgot. I think I want to say like it's whatever one that Ice T is on. They say it's like the longest running one of the, if not, I'm almost certain that it's the longest running television series in television history or something that nature. But I have never ever watched the episode of Law and Order. I have never ever watched the episode of uh NTIS or whatever those shows is. Um, The Wire, Snowfall, and Sopranos. Yeah. So see, Drew, we almost 100% down with each other. I got The Wire as the greatest show ever when it comes in terms of that. I really love The Wire. Um, who was your favorite show? What's good, Jack? I don't know who you are for you to be calling me egghead, but it's all good. Um, I like Power too. Yeah, I got Power coming in second. So I was waiting for my man to come on because I wanted to get into it with him. Me and him used to talk about Power every day, all the time. All the time rather. Just the Power universe. Period. And I had to put him on the Wire because he a younger fella, so he wound up getting through the Wire. So I wanted to go back and forth between the two on here. But the Wire is to hands down top dog for me. Uh, the Wire, Soprano. I talked about Sopranos a little bit earlier, and rest in peace to Vincent Pastore. He played you know Pussy. Uh, no doubt, we good. Um, he just passed away. The character, the guy that played Pussy on The Sopranos, he just passed away over the weekend. So rest in peace to him. But yeah, Sopranos was my guy. Uh, so I'm glad you brought that up, Drew, because I definitely forgot about that. I try to tell people all the time, especially people that's into The Wire. If you really like The Wire, you have to go back and watch The Corner because The Corner is, if it was not for The Corner, um, if it wasn't for The Corner, there would have never been a Wire. Like The Corner was actually the template or the testing thing to see if HBO could get that black audience on something that wasn't comedy, so to speak. Like another little tidbit that I had found out a couple of years ago. Like I don't know how many of you guys watched Bel Air, not the Fresh Prince of Bel Air with Will Smith, but Bel Air, this new one that they did on Peacock. Um, that was more. It wasn't comedy. It was more serious. Well, actually, I was watching the interview years ago with Benny Medina, who was in charge of the Source magazine, And he was a part of the show with Quincy Q3 on the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and they were saying that in the late '80s, early '90s, when the Fresh Prince of Bel Air came out, this showed that Bel Air was supposed to be the original um, show. It wasn't supposed to be a comedy, but the network television, again, which is one reason I don't like network television. Networks was thinking that black audiences wasn't going to subscribe to anything that was that serious or that heavy, actual drama. Um, they had to keep it comedy, and that's one thing I don't like about the television, TV. Even when you go back throughout the history, you got these different what we call black shows, but all these white writers. Like, how do you know what we consider funny? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care to see a product that you think that I think will be funny. How about just bring some of my people in to create what's funny to them? You know what I mean? Whether it's funny to you or not, just take us at our word. We find that particular thing funny. So I don't really care for the crossover writing when it comes to stuff like that there. But the corner was the blueprint. And it did so good. Only 6 episodes. So if you can find it, I actually have it have it on DVD, Jew. But if you can actually find the corner, go back and watch the corner, and see for yourself. I thought the corner was riveting in the fact that a lot of people really go through that. When you're talking about addiction, when you're talking about the inner city, when you're talking about the hood, it was just so many different aspects, and everybody doesn't always know what their neighbor going through. That's one of the things that The Wire did for me. When The Wire first came out, I remember that was still we didn't have Facebook yet. It was still like Black Planet and MySpace, I believe, and forget the order which they came out. But I remember one of the reasons that after watching The Wire, and I was freshman ministry at the time, I began to look up all these different people that we went to high school with, Drew, because I wanted to find people like and apologize, because it's like the Wire had opened up my eyes to so many different aspects of the inner city. Whereas, like, we used to make fun of people with dirty clothes, or every time I turn around, he sleep in class, and this dude is always sleeping, always sleeping. But I didn't realize until I watched The Wire that we went to school with some people that were actually homeless, or that was in situations like Wallace was, where the mom might be out there on drugs, and the oldest child is 13 and got two or three younger siblings, and he's just trying to do everything he possibly can to make sure that CPS doesn't come in here and take the children from him. You know, uh, so I just started looking at things from a different aspect as an adult, and I'm like, a lot of them jokes I was personally cracking back then. Like, it might have been out of pocket, and I wanted to find people 20 years later and apologize to them for. I don't even know if they remembered them or whatever. But any part I might have played in your sadness, or you feeling some type of way, I wanted to apologize to people. So that's really why I started getting on social media back then, because of The Wire and seeing the little different things. I don't know if you, being that you brought up the corner, Jew, I don't know if you know this, but the guy that was his name Lamar? I think it was Lamar. The guy that used to be brother Mazone's right hand man. Did you know that that's the original? That's the real. The guy that played brother Mazone right hand man was the real DeAndre from the corner. Did you know that, Jew? I had seen that like quite a few years ago, and I was like, "Yo, that's crazy." Just like Melvin Williams, he played the preacher, the minister, in The Wire. But he was like the real life, it was a combination of Avon Barksdale was a combination of different kingpins in the city of Baltimore. But Melvin was the one of the main ones. He was one of the real ones. Um, but he was in there too in the Wire. He played the preacher in the Wire. So that was another reason that I kind of liked it, because they had a lot of people that were actually hands on. The writers for the Wire, it was a one that worked for the newspaper and one that used to be he was a retired cop. So again, they had more different aspects of a better grasp on reality, I would say, from different vantage points, so to speak. That's one of the things that I may think made the Wire unique as well. Um, and another thing that I really liked, another thing I really liked about the Wire was the way that they did it. Every season was a different theme. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was pretty cool the way they did. Like the first one was the introduction, then the second season, which is a lot of people least favorite. They always say that that's in a lot of different discussion groups. They always say that was the weakest season, was season 2, which was about the docs. And I was like, I thoroughly enjoyed that season 2 with Frank and Zabaka and you know all them guys, and just showing you how the docs even played a part in the city. You know, we got docs out there in Elizabeth and Newark, and you know, it's like you have no idea. You know, and just to think all this stuff got exposed because the girls was being transported in the cans in the trailers or whatnot, and came up, DOA. So it's like you would have never known stuff like that was really happening unless you were exposed to it. You wouldn't think that stuff like that was happening. Um, and how it comes into the whole inner city, inner beings, and so to speak. Um, then what was it? What was season 3? Season 3 was because I want to say season 4 was the newspaper. No, the last season was the newspaper. Season 4 was uh like the birth of the next generation, so to speak. We got to learn the younger players and the new characters, Michael and all of them. Um, so you said The Wire too, Drew. Who was your favorite character in The Wire? Who was your all time favorite character in The Wire? I think for me, I think it was Weebay. I really The Wire. First of all, The Wire had so many good characters that I really liked. Um, But I think Weebay was the most solid to me. The way Weebay took the bid and everything and held it down, I absolutely loved Weebay. Even when he went off on the baby moms and the judge, like, don't forget who you talking to now. Just because I'm in here don't mean. I really like Weebay. I thought Slim Charles was solid. Thought Slim Charles was a solid character. Uh, Naaman. Naaman is the perfect example of what I was talking about when it comes to Tariq. Like even though he was Weebay's son, like either you got it or you don't. And I'm not saying that Tariq didn't have it. It's just that why? Naaman knew he didn't have it, but he wanted to act like it, which is why I couldn't stand Naaman. Like Naaman knew good and well he wasn't about that life. He was a sucker from day one. I don't think and that goes to show that's the whole different dynamic. That's just my opinion. But I think that's another reason why fathers are important. Um, because who to say? I'm not saying that he would have been in the game or he would have been that fierce, whatever. But I just think he would have had a different lifestyle or a different mindset if Weebay had been there to kind of guide him a little bit. But unfortunately, he was incarcerated, so he wasn't able to be present in his son's life like that. But Naaman, I couldn't stand that character. Michael was it was a nice to see the whole uh maceration of Michael, from this pup to that stone cold, you know what I mean? Chris and Snoop. You can't mention one without the other. Chris and Snoop was some great characters too. Like you did not want to play with them on any level whatsoever. Um, who else? Of course, you got Poot and Why can I think of his name right now? Bodie, yeah, they did Bodie dirty too, man. You know, people like, yeah, well, he was talking to McNulty. That's the whole thing. Like, you can't always believe what your eyes tell you. That's in anything in life. Just because you see a thing don't mean that is what you actually see. You don't know unless you're right there, part of that actual conversation. You don't know what's being said. You don't know what's actually taking place. Oh, I see Marvin and Drew together. They must be like, no, we might not seen each other in 30 years. We just might have catching up or whatever the case may be. But it's just always perspective and context is always important. And a lot of times, what I mean by is you can't always believe what your eyes see is like because you might see it or perceive it to be a certain type of way. That doesn't mean that it's the way that it actually is or what you think is taking place is taking place. You know what I mean? People have told me over the years, like, what's wrong, man? You seem upset. Like, nah, I might be just deep in thought. So it looks like I'm unapproachable or something's going on or whatever, but I'm daydreaming. I'm not even thinking about where it is, you know, what you're thinking about, rather, or what you're perceiving it to be, which is another whole argument I usually have with people, for people that believe that perception is reality. And I'm like, me personally, I don't subscribe to that because your perception of me is not my reality. You know what I mean? And it's not reality. It just because you perceive me to be a type of way doesn't mean I'm that way, or so to speak, or you that way. You had asked me a question, Marv, but I missed it. I was asking, what was I asked too. I asked, who was your favorite character on The Wire, and I was also asking you, how do you find that balance as parents between giving them everything, giving your children everything that the best life that you could afford to give them without and also incorporating teaching them the fundamentals of life and how to be successful and be able to stand up on their own one day when God forbid you're not here anymore to be able to take care of themselves and raise their own family. Um, where do you find that balance at? I remember Damon Wayans, he had a comedy special and he kind of talked about that years ago, how, he come from the projects in Brooklyn and, his son grew up out there in Beverly Hills or, whatever, or forgot, one of them big major cities out there in California. And he's like, yo, you think this is? So he dropped him off in the hood, and the son came back talking crazy. It was just so funny because he's like, I thought I was like that, but nah, I ain't about that life. That because I was, you afforded them a life that they didn't have to go. They don't have to go through the same things that we went through, which is why I couldn't stand the Tariq character because why would you want to learn the game so bad? Like, why would you want to be a part of that when you living in a penthouse? Um, like you got everything handed to you. All you gotta do is just pretty much go to school and become an entrepreneur, do whatever you need to do. But you want to be this gangster in this drug. I just never understood Tariq character or how people are like that. Uh, but hey, that's just me. And then for power, like you said, I got power right up there, but I would say maybe third. I would probably put power third. Um, Snowfall was good, but I wouldn't put Snowfall above The Wire, The Sopranos, or Power. Me personally, um, it was interesting too. I was watching 50 Cent talk over the weekend. He was actually, and it was crazy that knowing that we was going to talk about this tonight or TV shows this weekend. Um, um, hold on, what you say? Prop Joe. I don't give my kids everything, but they have to work for what they get. Kids got it too easy these days, bro. I agree 1,000%. I know one of the proudest moments I ever had as in my life as a dad. I remember my oldest son. He was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and it was something that he wanted to buy or something that he wanted to get, or he wanted some money to buy something, either for his mom or a school project, whatever the case may be, whatever it was. And I remember, instead of him coming to ask me, could he have X amount of dollars, when he came to me, he said, Dad, what can I do to earn some money? And I was like, yo, I don't know what, but me and his mom, we on the right track. He was only like 8 or 9 at the time. But he asked, what can I? He didn't ask for the money. He asked me what could he do to earn some money. So it was like, of course, hey, help me with the grass, or take the garbage out for the next, whatever, and you can earn. That's the way. But just the fact that had this kid that wasn't even double digit age, not just asking, hey, Dad, can I have $50? Can I have $20? Whatever it was. But how can I earn some money? I like that. I like that. That was a proud dad moment. um, but you said Prop Joe. I really liked Prop Joe, man. Um, it was another thing that they had on YouTube many years ago. I don't know if you've seen it, Drew, but I forgot. I want to say I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name of it, but it was only like 1 or 2 minutes an episode. And what they did was they would go down different timelines of the Wire. And this one particular one that I seen with Prop Joe, he was like in 5th grade. So it was showing how Prop Joe would go to school, and his first hustle was like candy bars. He would buy candy bars and upsell them to the different kids in school. Uh, so it's just funny seeing the early Prop Joe. Then they had one with Omar, how Omar became a stick up. He was like 11 or 12, and his older brother, his friend, was robbing somebody on the bus stop. And Omar like, nah, man, we shouldn't rob nobody that ain't a part of the game. And they, even as a young, he had like a code that he lived by. They messed up Franklin though. I ain't liking how it ended for him, but I kind of understand to a degree. A lot of old timers ended up like Franklin. Yo, I agree. I agree with you. I didn't see that coming, but I thought that made it so that much. I thought it made it that much more good, or because even with the Sopranos, let's be clear. And that's one reason I like to hate. Like I said, I haven't watched the series finale of The Shy, but I'm glad that there's something finally worse, possibly worse than the way that the Sopranos ended. Because The Sopranos is like, you got this good series for all these many years, and for The Sopranos to go out like that, I was like mad shocked and highly disappointed. But I knew I was glad to see that I wasn't the only one. I remember like, yo, what's going on with my TV? Like, what happened? we missing something. And then for them to never, even all these years later, for them to never come and tell us whether it went black like that because Tony got, all these different things. It's like, hey, what's good? You know, I just never liked the way they wrapped that up. So I'm glad to see that the Shy didn't disappoint and gave us a worse series finale than in Sopranos. Because Sopranos was the series finale. The way that show ended was very, very underwhelming, so to speak. We just talking about different TV shows and what's yours and who's your favorite character of that particular show. Um, but what I was saying was I was watching something with 50 as far as Power. I was watching something with 50 over the weekend, and he was talking about how him and Courtney Kemp was having problems. Um, and that's one of the reasons that it kind of went the way that it did as far as the Power, the original Power, the OG Power. Uh, he was saying that Courtney, she wanted to be, it was her show, like as far as her being a writer, it was a lot of tension between her and 50, but there was more tension between her and Amari. So according to 50, 50 he was saying how Courtney Kemp, she originally wanted to kill Ghost when Kanan actually died. I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, cause Ghost was the show to me. And it's like, it's crazy back to egos and whatnot. Like, how could you be a writer of the show, but you want all the credit and you're not even on the screen? Like, she was mad. She was. A lot of the tension was because Mari was such this strong figure that she didn't like that, and she didn't like that every 50 Cent did a theme song. 50 Cent is in the show, so it's 50 Cent showing, which it was part of his production show, but you're the writer. Um, so either way, you're behind the scenes. Nobody going to know who you are. I didn't realize until maybe about a month ago that Two Bit, because I didn't really care for the Two Bit character, even though he was a real one. Without, I just rewatched Power again maybe last month. Um, he was a real one. Two Bit was a real one, but I didn't know that him and the writer Courtney Kemp were actually dating at the time that the show was out. Uh, you said Prop Joe was just acting powerful as was was just as powerful as Avon, but Avon had more muscle. I like Slim Charles too. Yeah, told you Slim was my guy. Slim was always solid. Um, but Prop Joe, I like Prop Joe because Prop Joe was a thinker. I hate the way he went out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I was saying earlier about Michael Rainey playing Tariq. Jamie Hector, he played that role Marlo because I could not stand Marlo. You know what I mean? I'm more of a loyalist. Like once if I'm down with you, I'm down with you. I'm down with Avon. You know what I mean? I'm down with Avon and his crew. And it's like to see this young up and coming, and there's always gonna be that's just the way it is in the streets. But Marlo, the way he was just the way they introduced Marlo was so brilliant, and then the transition of Marlo, uh, and his whole value system. They playing with my name. My name is my name. Like, I really like Marlo, but it's like a love hate type relationship. I like when an actor plays a role so good that it's like, that's the key to me. Like Mister, I remember Danny Glover. I remember being a kid when the original Color Purple came out and seeing Danny Glover. I remember nobody could stand that character, but everybody loved. Uh, I just said his name. I'm beyond tired. Y'all help me out. Danny Glover. Everybody loved Danny Glover as an actor, but they could not stand that character, Mister. Like he's one of the all-time worst characters in movie history. Um, but it just shows you how good of an actor Danny Glover was actually as portraying you to make you feel that way when you see him in the streets. Like I can't stand you. You should have never played that role. That's just a testament of how good of an actor a person is to me personally. Uh, but yeah, Prop Joe was pivotal. I like the way Brother Masson came in. Um, he's actually the dude that played Brother Masson. Can't think of his real name right now, but he's in that show Nemesis I was talking about as well. So he always, excuse me, there's always Juice said Meth pulled that old grimy New York move on Prop Joe. That whole cast on The Wire was nice. Yeah, I'm telling you. And it wasn't even no New York thing. Like to me, it was just crazy because Cheese Meth that was actually Prop Joe's nephew. Like, come on, man. But in the end, again, Slim Charles, my guy. That's all I'm gonna say. Cheese got exactly what he deserved. You know what I mean? He got exactly what he deserved. It's always gonna come back on you. You know what I mean? And my brothers be laughing at me now when Michael B. Jordan when he won the Oscar for Sinners. I was like, yo, Wallace done finally made it because it's like I don't care what Michael B. Jordan do. I'ma always see Wallace pissing on himself right before he go out. It's like you said, Judith, the whole cast, from Freeman to Wendell Pierce, who's on Raising Canaan now. You gotta don't forget, this was the introduction to the world to Idris Elba, um, Wood Harris, Michael K. Williams. Michael K. Williams became a movie rock star after that. He was in a little bit of all kind of projects. Uh, Great actor. And I always try to tell people, I don't care what show come out from here to the end of time, there will never be a more gangster homosexual than Omar Little. Let me tell you something. When Jokers run, yo, Omar coming, and they know this dude is gay. Like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, man, work was crazy. It was a long morning this morning. It was altercation at work. Police had to get, it was, man, I don't even want to get into it. So I had to stay later than I normally do. And we're going to get out of here soon anyway. My man ain't never show up. My man was supposed to be coming on to talk about some of this stuff. One of my young boys, he was into the Power too, but he liked Snowfall better than he did Power. But yeah, Power. I think 50 they did the whole team, they did a good job with Power as doing like following that Marvel blueprint to create this whole Power universe with the different spinoffs. I didn't really care for Power 2 Ghost because it's Tariq. I don't like the Tariq character, but I did watch it, and it had some good acting too. Shout out to Lorenz Tate. He did good in that. Michael B. Rainey. Well, I mean Michael Rainey, not Michael B. But Michael Rainey. He did a good job in Tariq as far as being a lead character. Noma. They introduced. Even Mary did her thing. You know what I mean? And Force with Tommy, I just think it's overkill. Like, again, I know it is TV. I like things to be kind of believable though. There's no way in the world you supposed to be on your way. You leave New York City as one of the biggest drug dealers ever. Everybody think you dead. You're supposed to be on your way to California to link up with the Connect, but you just decide to come to Chicago and take over a whole city like Chicago. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. You got to do better. Uh, but that's just me. Tommy character. It took a while. I ain't gonna lie. It took a while for the Tommy character to grow on me because I was such a Ghost fan. Now, Raising Kanan again. Now you got all these different aspects in this universe. You know, he did a real good job. Me personally, I would say, other than the original Power, me personally, I like Raising Kanan out of all the spinoffs. I like Raising Kanan the most. One, because it is nostalgia for me. It reminds me of that era. You know, they go back to when we was in high school. You know, Drew, with, you know, you see the 8 balls and Marvin with the cuts and the, you know, that whole style, unique. Oh, Joey Badass, man, he played that role as unique, man. And my brother be laughing at me to this day because I would hear different Joey songs on Sirius, and I'm like, yo, I kind of like this dude. I kind of like this dude. And I'm telling them about this dude named Unique on, like I was talking about with Idris on The Wire. I had the same experience. I'm like, yo, Unique, man. I don't know who playing this Unique character, but yo, this dude got it back. I see, it feel like I know this dude. This dude feel like a real dude. Unique felt so real to me. And then I forgot what I was watching, something online or something. I was like, hold up. Joey Badass is Unique. I had never put it because anytime I heard his music, it was always in the car, so I never seen no video or, you know, anything like that there. So it was just funny to find out Joey Badass. So I really started getting into his music even more after that because he played Unique so well. But I like Raising Kanan because I think they have the best ensemble of actors. My boy London, um, Lou, who was also in Snowfall. Makai, he's killing a young Kanan, a younger Kanan. Raquel, Patina Miller, oh my goodness, she killed that role as Rock. She killing that role as Rock. So that's one reason I like Raising Kanan the most out of after Power is because of the casting. I think the actors did a good job. Even I can't think of her first name, Kilgore, that plays Jukebox, the young Jukebox. She did a good job acting as well. Uh, just overall good. I didn't like the way they did this last week, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody that's out there. But the series finale will be this Friday night, so we're gonna see how it all wraps up. And I'm really looking forward to Power Origins because that's what everybody's been trying to figure out since the original Power. Um, you know, how did Tommy and Ghost? That's what we all anybody that's in the Power universe, we all wait to see how did Ghost and Tommy link up with Kanan. So I'm really waiting to see that come to a fruition. And they actually released it. They're actually filming it in Newark now, in different parts of Jersey, but Newark one of them. But I seen a trailer for Power Origins not too long ago, and is I can't wait for it to finally come out. I think it's supposed to be coming out sometime next year or the end of this year. But I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Kanan is one of those grimy. He's one of those characters too. He's so grimy, but you like him, but you don't like him. Uh, and it's like if you go back and watch Raising Kanan, as much as I couldn't stand Tasha, I couldn't stand Tasha either. I couldn't stand Tasha. I didn't like Tasha. That's one thing about Power. As much as I like Power, I only watch Power by myself because Power is mad triggering on so many different levels for me personally. Uh, but I couldn't stand Tasha. But now, if you go back and you watch after you watch Raising Kanan, for those that did watch Raising Kanan, now you see why Tasha was always. You should have been killed Kanan. You should have been killed Kanan because Kanan is a menace to society, bruh. Kanan is out of control, but you see how it is, and I get I'm about to leave so many of them because I'm in a lot of these different groups. One of that keep going back and forth was like, nah, this here, that there. You gotta if you go back and watch the original Power, then he said that it's all these different showrunners and all these different groups, all these different writers. It's like, dude, we all playing against a game. None of y'all guys know, but everybody keep talking about. Remember when he said he went to visit his mama, dude? If you watched all the Power, if you watched all the Raising Kanan, Kanan is a liar. Why would you believe anything he said? So what he said he went to see his mom. The first thing I went to see my mom, then I came here. Who to say that ain't a lie or part of his plan, his chess game that he's playing? Because and that's the only thing that kind of disappointed me in the Power was Ghost taking out Rolo because 50 told him. Like, dude, you know how grimy Kanan is. Why would you believe everything that he's telling you, even though he schooled you to the game and all that did? You know what he's capable of, and you know how shady he is. Why would you believe him over your young man that you know what I mean? Rolo was near and dear to his heart. Not too many could have done what Neek did. He was smart. He knew when to fold, and that's what messed up a lot of us. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. I was just still waiting for him to come back. But to your point, bravo to you, bravo Neek. And I think that was well written the way they did that. Allowing him to, ride off to because, in that life, don't everybody really make it out. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Ghost said it best in the original Power. I don't see no old retired drug dealers. You know what I mean? When he was trying to get out of the game and try to go legit and all that, then Tasha, no, you got to be the best, biggest drug dealer. Like, how dare you, yo? You got a husband that's in the game that's trying to get out the game, and you want him to stay in the game. Like, I couldn't stand Tasha on so many different levels, yo. She was so foul to me. But yeah, man, Neek. Like I said, Neek, he did that. He did that. And like you said, sometimes it ain't worth it. You got to make that choice. Either you're gonna die a part of the game, or for these fake street principles, or you're gonna leave it alone. Become a regular civilian, become a regular citizen. And not everybody could do that. You know what I mean? So again, shout out to Neek, the character. I think Sasha Penn did a good job as far as the writing for Raising Canaan. Like I said, then to see again back to Wendell Pierce, you see him as Bump in The Wire. Now he's playing the main man in Raising Canaan. So to see that different, I like when you could go from one extreme to another. I never watched the show, but they were saying Marlo Jamie Hector, actor, his real name is Jamie Hector. He's in some kind of cop show now where he's like one of the lead detectives, or whatever. I was like, it would be crazy just to see Marlo playing a detective. But shout out to those actors, man. But yeah, we're gonna get ready to get up out of here. Next week I'm gonna have Miss Monica Boswell back on with us. We're gonna be talking about the importance of real estate, home ownership. We probably get into a few other topics, but she's coming back on next week. Um, like I said, I'm looking forward to this Friday, Thursday midnight, Friday morning. Uh, the final episode of Raising Canaan. I want to see how all that's going, how he's going to bring that to the end. I ain't even have mentioned BMF, but it wasn't no shade on BMF. Ooh, excuse me. But I don't know how many people really cared for BMF or like BMF. I watched it a lot. I watched all of it actually. It just, yeah, I didn't really necessarily care for the. That was the other thing with the back to the shy. Like the whole Dudai character. You the leader of the biggest gang ever, but you running for mayor. It wasn't believable. He wasn't convincing to me. I wasn't scared of him. Like no hood dudes was really and Nuck. Oh my goodness, he was a sucker from day one. I don't see how anybody. I don't. It's just like you said, the writing was all over the place on the shot. That was my biggest knock on the shot. Uh, I can't wait for you to do a show about Believe a Christian. Hey, Drew, that's if it's not the last um if it's not the last Tuesday of this month, it's gonna be the second Tuesday of September. I'm in there getting I'm trying to get a whole panel together for that now too. If you want to be on it, let me know. If you just want to be a spectator, that's cool too. But I'm trying to get an actual panel of Christians versus believers. I've been waiting to do that for a while now too. But I just wanted to, I don't want that to be a conversation just with me. In my opinion, I want a young lady. Um, I probably have a couple of pastor friends, and then some people that are believers. Um, that don't necessarily subscribe to church and what it is nowadays. Because one thing I always try to tell people is it needs to always be relationship over religion. Religion is more of man. With all religions, I don't care which one you choose, all of them are man made. Um, but it's more important to have a relationship, an actual relationship with the Almighty, with the Creator. Um, and some people yeah, like you said, Drew, we're gonna get into it. Because I think that is very I think that is very important, and I think it's a very important. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send you something too, Drew. I seen something today about one of the pastors here in North Carolina. He was critiquing another pastor that's pretty well known throughout the country in today's society, and he was talking about how he met some wonderful gay Christians and the whole he went into the whole spiel about gay Christians and why he think that is this here and that there. So again, it's just so many different people. People, you got the ones that, well, what does the Bible say? Then you got some people that believe in, you know what? For me personally, and we're gonna definitely get into it on that particular show, I respect both of them, but I can respect the believer. It's just almost like how we talking about power and the wire in the game. You know, you got some people say, yeah, you know what? I want the car, I want the money, I want the jewelry, I want the girls, I want everything that come with that. But I know I could get it, but do I really want to go through all that? Um, to I got you. Do I really want to go through all that to get that? You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, when in terms of believers, I believe that you got people out here that do believe that Jesus is the way, that do believe that there is a standard, that do believe that holiness is right, and holiness is obtainable. You know, I think a lot of per se Christians, they like to use it as a crutch and an excuse, you know, to sin willfully, you know, by saying, well, none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. You know, I think that that's a cop out for that. Me personally, I respect somebody that says, you know what, I believe it, but I can't do. I'm not willing to do all of that. I'm not willing to give up my rights or myself to become who God created me to be. Now, as weird as that may sound, I respect a person making that stance than to be in the life lukewarm or living a life in the shadow, so to speak. You know what I mean? Closet Christians, you know what I mean? You one way in church and in the public, but behind closed doors, you're something totally different. I rather you say, you know what? Nah, I know God is real. I believe in God. I believe in the Bible. I believe in Jesus Christ. But I like the ladies too much. So I'm gonna send it on out. I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm gonna let y'all do that whole thing there because Um, there's levels to it, but we definitely gonna get into that show. But like I said, Drew, it's coming. If not the end of this month, it's definitely gonna be next month. So we're gonna make that happen. But yeah, man, I'm getting to get up out of here. I'm about to crash and burn. Um, I'll be sleeping 15 minutes. I promise you. Y'all pray for my strength and continue to pray for one another. Um, like I said, we'll be back next week with Monica Boswell, and I'm looking forward to that. But y'all have a good evening, a good rest of your week. Everybody that's dealing with these thunderstorms and different things on the East Coast, man, you gotta stay safe um, as possible. I look forward to seeing you. That's why I said, Drew, I had to catch myself. I had to catch myself. We're gonna save it for that particular show, man. Uh, but it's definitely a caveat and there's layers to it. And I think it's a conversation that people need to be had because I think that it could be helpful to people because there are a lot of people that struggle with that. You know, I want to be a Christian, or I am a believer, but can I be a Christian and gay? Some people say no, some people say yes. I don't know. You know, that's for the individual. You know what I mean? That's not my place to judge. But what you can be is you can be a gay believer. So we definitely gonna dive into that. But y'all, man, y'all take it easy. You stay safe over there, Drew. I'm gonna get that to you. Um, y'all have a blessed week for the rest of the week. And as usual, signing off, DeAndre and Lyshan. Know that Daddy loves you intentionally, but I also love you unconditionally. Till next week, peace.